you see in this picture, okay, T1, because T1 goes to the brachial plexus, all right. Therefore, in the thorax, we've got a innervation of the skin by this spinal nerve T2 up to T7, okay. And other part of the spinal nerve goes to the another region. For example, a skin at the level of the umbilicus is innervated by T10. Okay, T10. You must consider these differences for innervating the part of the body. All right. Once again, I tell you, T10, anterior ramus of the T10 travels in the tense intercostal nerve, but after innervating the muscles and the joint in this space, comes to the skin at the level of the umbilicus, as you see here. But this is the very simple but very useful picture for better understanding the anterior ramus of the one spinal nerve in the thoracic region. You can see. All right. This is the main trunk of the spinal nerve. As I told you, we've got a posterior ramus, and after that we've got the anterior ramus. You can see anterior ramus. At the close to costal angle, we've got the collateral branch. This one. At the mid-axillary line, we've got a lateral cutaneous branch, you can see. And the main trunk of intercostal nerve goes to the anterior part of intercostal space, and finally gives off anterior cutaneous branch. In previous picture, you saw anterior cutaneous branch is divided into branches, lateral branches and the medial branches. All right. In this is the cross longitudinal cross section of the this cross section of the intercostal space. As you see in this picture, you can see cross section of a rib. Cross section of a rib. Two ribs is obvious in this figure. Okay, this is the costal groove. Sorry, and this is the neurovascular bundle. This is the main neurovascular bundle, okay, in intercostal space, but close to superior border of the next rib, you've got the collateral branches, artery, vein, and the nerve. Collateral branches. All right. And the previous picture. This is the collateral branch of intercostal nerve. Along with this branch, you've got a collateral branch of the intercostal vessel. Okay, and the next picture I show you. All right. This is another cross section of the intercostal space, but this is the horizontal section. This is the vertical section. Okay. This is the horizontal section of the intercostal space. As you see in this picture, you can find it. This is the intercostal nerve, lateral branch, anterior branch. Is important because, as you see in this picture, we've got the separated layer. Separated internal layer in the thoracic muscle. Okay, you can see, I told you before, from posterior to anterior, we've got a subcostalis, innermost intercostal or intimi, and sterncostalis or transverse thoracic muscle. Okay, they are in line with together. Okay, this is the internal layer, but they are separated from each other. Okay, and outside of this layer, you've got a internal intercostal muscle. Internal intercostal muscle, this muscle. As you see in this picture, neurovascular bundle is hidden when it reaches to the innermost intercostal muscle. I mean that whenever neuromuscular bundle is between innermost intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscle is hidden if you stand in the thorax and see this bundle. Alright, this is typical intercostal artery. Typical intercostal artery. As you, we've got the one posterior intercostal artery, as you see in this picture. One posterior intercostal artery. But if you come to the anterior part of the intercostal space, here you can see we've got a two anterior intercostal artery. Two anterior intercostal artery. This is the typical anterior intercostal arteries, and because of this, you can see these arteries arise from internal thoracic artery, but in the lower intercostal spaces, lower intercostal spaces, they arise from musculopharyngeal artery, one of the terminal branch of the internal costal artery. All right? Okay. If it comes to the posterior intercostal artery in this area, okay, you can see this is descending aorta or thoracic aorta. Thoracic aorta or descending aorta. We've got one posterior intercostal artery arises from, in typical, arises from the aorta. Okay, this artery comes to the intercostal space, and at the angle of the rib gives off a branch, collateral branch. Collateral branch travels along with collateral branch of the intercostal nerve, as I told you before. All right, in the mid-axillary line, the artery gives off another branch, lateral cutaneous branch, to follow relevant nerve, and the main trunk goes to the anterior part of intercostal space. At the costochondral junction, here, the costochondral junction between costal cartilage and the rib, okay, this line, this vertical line. At this level, we've got anastomosis with the main trunk of posterior intercostal artery and the superior anterior intercostal artery. This is superior anterior intercostal artery, all right? There is anastomosis. And another anastomosis is between inferior anterior intercostal artery, and the collateral branch of the posterior intercostal artery at this level, okay? But you must consider in the lower two intercostal spaces. I mean that intercostal spaces number 11 and 12. We don't have any any anterior intercostal arteries. Okay? We don't have. Therefore, we don't have this anastomosis in there. Okay? Alright, you can see in this picture, alright, in the left picture, you can see posterior intercostal arteries in each intercostal spaces. Okay, you can see. And in the right picture, you can see internal thoracic artery, and its anterior intercostal branches. All right. At the level of the sixth intercostal cartilage, this cartilage at this level, internal thoracic artery is divided into two terminal branches, musculophrenic superior epigastric artery. Superior epigastric artery pass through between sternal and the costal attachment of the diaphragm, and goes to the anterior wall of the abdomen, as you see in this picture, and finally in the rectus abdominis sheath has an anastomosis with inferior epigastric artery. Okay, here the musculophrenic gives up anterior intercostal branches for intercostal spaces, 7, 8, 9, and after that, by passing through diaphragm, goes to the abdomen and has anastomosis with neighborhood arteries in the inferior surface of the diaphragm. Finally reaches to the diaphragm, and the inferior surface of the diaphragm has anastomosis and will be terminated, this artery. Alright, but I want to bring back you all to the origin of the internal thoracic artery. Internal thoracic artery is one of the branches of the first part of the subclavian artery. You can see here, this is the right subclavian artery, and this is the sternal artery. Okay, in each side, internal thoracic artery arises from first part. Okay, from first part, and at the root of the neck, internal thoracic artery gives up the important branch. This branch is the pericardiophrenik artery. This artery travels with the phrenic nerve for innervating a pericardium, fibrous pericardium, and finally for innervation, for supplying. I correct this term. Pericardiophrenik artery supply. No, in fact, I made a mistake. This artery supplies fibrous pericardium and the some mediastinal structure, and finally reaches to the diaphragm for supplying diaphragm muscle. All right. Okay. This is the origin of the, in simple picture, you can see origin of the artery. Okay, this is the subclavian artery. As I showed you, subclavian artery is terminated at the lateral border of the first rib, as you see in this picture. In continuation with this artery, we've got a axillary artery. All right, and you can see a route of internal thoracic artery at the back of the costal cartilage. Goes downward vertically, and you can see at the level of the 6 costal arteries, and sometimes 6 costal intercostal spaces divided into a musculophrenic lateral branch and the superior epigastric artery medial branch, as I told you. All right. This is the in this picture you can see venous drainage of the thorax. Venous drainage of the thorax. In the thorax, we've got two systems for draining venous blood. In the posterior wall of the thorax, we've got a azygous system. You can see this is the azygous system. All right, and in anterior part of the thorax, we've got the internal thoracic vein for draining anterior part of the thoracic cage. As I told you, we've got anterior intercostal arteries. We've got anterior intercostal veins, okay, like arteries. And after that, these arteries are drained into internal thoracic vein, and finally internal thoracic vein on each side will be terminated in brachiocephalic vein. You can see right one, left one. All right, and the two brachiocephalic veins join together to form superior vena cava, and finally superior vena cava reaches to the right atrium. All right, the right atrium. Okay, in the posterior wall of the thorax, as I told you, we've got a azygous system. We've got a terry azygous system. Terry-zygous names. In the right side, we've got the azygous vein, and in the left side, we've got a hemiazygous vein and accessory hemiazygous vein in this picture. This is the very simple picture, but you can easily understand a zygous system. What is a zygous system? A zygous system is started in the lumbar region by joining two veins. All right, two veins. This is the two veins consist of the ascending lumbar vein on each side, ascending lumbar vein, right side, left side, and subcostal vein. Subcostal vein is related, located inferior to the 12th rib, because we don't have 12th intercostal vein, space, and because of this we've got a subcostal vein. Okay, instead of other intercostal spaces, we've got an intercostal vein. Okay, after 12th rib, we've got a subcostal vein. All right, subcostal artery. Alright, subcostal vein joined to the ascending lumbar vein on each side, and in the right side, a zygous vein is formed. A zygous vein, by passing through right cruise of the diaphragm, or sometimes by passing through aortic orifice of diaphragm, okay, reaches to the thorax, and this vein get this, you can see these veins on in against each intercostal space gets posterior intercostal vein, as you see in this picture. But in the right side and in the left side, the veins in intercostal spaces 2, 3, and the 4 join together to form this vein. This is superior intercostal vein. Superior intercostal vein. In the right side and the left side. In the right side, this vein reaches to the zygous vein. Okay, is emptied, is drained by a zygous vein, superior intercostal vein. But then in the left side, superior intercostal vein, left superior intercostal vein is drained by left brachiocephalic vein, as you see. All right, left brachiocephalic. Okay. All right. And the first posterior intercostal vein on each side is drained by relevant brachiocephalic. I mean that right first posterior intercostal vein is drained into right brachiocephalic. You can see right brachiocephalic, and the left one by left brachiocephalic vein. Okay. All right. So left brachiocephalic vein gets first posterior intercostal vein and superior intercostal vein, and the first posterior intercostal vein on left side. Okay, left brachiocephalic. But right brachiocephalic gets only the first posterior intercostal vein, because superior intercostal vein on the right side is drained by a zygous vein. And as you see in this picture, finally a zygous vein, has an arc or arch over pulmonary root, right pulmonary root or peduncle, and the finally reaches to the superior vena cava. As I told you, before, superior vena cava, superior vena comes back to the left ascending lumbar vein and the left subcostal vein, as you see in this picture. Left subcostal joins to the left ascending lumbar and it lies azygous vein by passing through left crus of the diaphragm reaches to the T9 level. Okay, reaches to the T9 level, and the T9 level goes horizontally to the right side for joining azygous vein, as you see in this picture. All right. Therefore, hemiazygous vein gets 9 to 12 posterior intercostal veins on the left side, as you see in this diagram. All right. Okay. We've got another azygous vein, hemiazygous vein on the left side, accessory hemiazygous vein. Accessory hemiazygous vein, it starts from level T5, okay, and terminated at the level of the T8 by passing horizontally to the right side for reaching to the azygous vein, as you see in this picture. Okay, accessory hemiazygous vein gets 5 to 8 posterior intercostal veins on left side, on the left side. All right, this is the differences between right side and the left side in the posterior wall of the thorax. If you consider a mirror here, okay, hemiazygous is the mirror image of the lower part of the zygous vein, and accessory hemiazygous vein roughly or somewhat is the mirror image of the superior part of the zygous vein. Okay, and this table you can see in the brief. You can see in the brief, and all events is taken place in the right side and the left side. Okay, but please correct this table, because this is the excessive here. All right, the force is excessive. You must delete here and conveys force here. Okay, second, third, and the fourth here. Okay, this is the mistake of this book, or in the printing. I think that there is an error, okay, or mistake. All right, and this is in the brief. You can see all things that I said before about a zygous vein in this table. Okay, very useful for reading. All right. Okay, and the final, we reach to the autonomic, particularly sympathetic system of the in the thorax. Okay, you can see this is the sympathetic chain or sympathetic trunk. Okay, sympathetic chain or sympathetic trunk locates anterior to body of the each vertebrae, but there is that sometimes goes to laterally in the medially in the lower part. Okay, but you can consider is a sympathetic chain or trunk is pretty close to body of the thoracic vertebrae, and as I know, in the other part of the body, sympathetic chain or trunk consists of the sympathetic ganglion. You can see sympathetic ganglions. All right, we've got the 12 sympathetic ganglions in the thoracic region, but as you see in this picture, from ganglion 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, branches is given off, and they join together to form greater splanchnic nerve. Therefore, material of the great splanchnic nerve and the other splanchnic nerve is sympathetic. Okay, we've got only sympathetic fibers in these nerves. All right, but from 5 to 9 ganglions, greater splanchnic nerve is given off. All right, from 10 and 11, lesser splanchnic nerve is given off. And finally, from 12, splanchnic nerve, least splanchnic, 12 sympathetic ganglion, least splanchnic nerve arises. Okay? All splanchnic nerves, by passing through relevant diaphragmatic grooves on the left side, left grooves, right side, right grooves, reaches to the abdomen. Greater splanchnic nerve goes to the celiac plexus, and the lesser and the least goes to the renal, aorticorenal plexus. Least to the renal plexus and lesser aorticorenal plexus. Okay, for delivering sympathetic fibers to those plexi. Okay. All right. At this moment, we can finish. Oh, today we finished sooner than as usual. Okay. And the next time, I want to talk about. The heart and the pericardium. All right. Okay. Thank you for your attention. And the next time, I will